I just want to know, are there any people out there in their 30s who feel like they're just lost and confused in their life right now? People used to tell me, just wait till you get to your 30s. It gets so much easier. I don't feel like that. Do I want to start a whole new career path? Do I want to keep my job? Do I just want to take whatever money I have left to my name and just run to Europe? Do I live in a city? Do I live on a farm where there's a bunch of cows and sheep and cute little dogs running around? I can just frolic in the flowers and just be a farm girl. I'm 33. Do I need to try and look for a husband right now? I don't know. Do I just get a van and me and my little dog just go trip around and go on little road trip adventures together and experience things? Like, that sounds fun. Do I just move to a super cheap island and just work in a smoothie shack, you know? Like, there's no right or wrong in life, but it's like there's so many options and paths that you can take that I don't know anymore. I want to do so many things, but at the same time, I don't know what to do. Also, I don't really have the financial freedom right now to be able to experience a lot of things.
Welcome to Inside the Mind of a Lost 33-year-old woman. And that's what we're going to discuss. We are now seeing women who have literally wasted their 20s away doing shit all. And when they hit their 30s and the attention starts to wane off and reality sort of start to bite, this is how their brain starts to work. And the crazy part is that it is still very adolescent in its thinking. I'm not calling her it. I'm talking about her brain, right? Maybe I should just go to some little island and work in some little smoothie shop or, do something. But, I don't have any money for that. See, women have this luxury. Women have this luxury because to them, they're just literally one bikini shot away from some guy going, hey, yeah, I'll be happy to step in and take care of you. Every single freaking woman has that in her head. But the thing is, she's still thinking that she's in her 20s. In her head, she still thinks she is in her 20s. And I'm not kidding you, man. Watch this video. And I'll tell you, and you'll see why I'm not kidding you.
If you're 20 to 23, you're still a teenager. If you're 24 to 27, that's all the same age. 28, you're in the mid-20s. 29, you're 30. If you're 30 to 33, you're in the late 20s. If you're 34, you're 31. And if you're 35, you're 35. Thank you for coming to my TED.
Yeah, this is how women think. This is their reality. In other words, there's no such thing as reality. Women have this idea that, okay, if I can actually convince the rest of the women that their actual age isn't their actual age, we can all convince the world that that's how we should be treated. Oh, man. Yes, my friends, welcome to another session with the older man. Today, we're going to talk about women who have reached the age of understanding and realized that feminism lied to them and that they pissed away their entire great productive 20s, traveling and having fun and just enjoying life because that's what the sisterhood told them that they should do. And then when they hit their late 20s or 30s, they realize, holy shit, I have nothing to show for my life yet. And I'm actually hitting geriatric pregnancy. Because a lot of them fall for this, when you're 21, you're actually 18, you're still a teenager, when you're actually this crap.
This is the reason men have to pay the bills. Like, being a provider is the least they can do. Because the amount of things that women go through that men do not go through is quite literally unfair. That's the only way to balance it. Number one, the period cycle. This is a monthly evolution of ever-changing hormones that we cannot control. Sometimes we have too little. Sometimes we have too much. Progesterone, estrogen, we just can't control that. Cortisol, up and down. It is radical, all while we're expected to manage those emotions and be productive members of society. And then the period that so graciously shows up every month. And don't get me wrong. For those of us that don't want kids, we are so ever so thankful that it shows up. But that does not negate the fact that sometimes it's brutal.
So men need to fund a woman's lifestyle because women go through periods. How exactly does that balance things out? She also mentioned it's because those are things women go through that men don't have to deal with. Like, okay, but how does a biological reality suddenly turn into a financial responsibility for men? Men also go through things women don't. Stress from physically demanding jobs, pressure to protect and provide, higher workplace injury rates, dangerous labor, military drafts, and higher rates of homelessness and suicide. If we're playing the "you don't go through what I go through" game, then men could just as easily demand financial compensation for the risks and burdens they face that women don't. But that's not how relationships are supposed to work. She says being a provider is the least men can do. That's the problem right there, reducing a man's entire value to his ability to provide financially, as if his role is nothing more than an ATM with legs.
Can't be the only person who feels like this. So I'm 30 years old. I am unemployed. I've been unemployed for 4 months. I literally can't get a job. I've applied to over 150 jobs. I now have negative $4.41 in my savings account because of the monthly service fee that just hit. I don't know when I'm going to get a job. I feel very lost. This feeling of being unemployed and applying to jobs and retailing your resume, getting rejected, and then seeing the job reposted literally 2 weeks later is demoralizing. And remembering that I am still worthy and I am still valuable has been very difficult. I left my last job because it was destroying my mental and physical health. I liked the job, but I just couldn't do it anymore. And so I applied to a new job, and I was going to make the most money I was ever supposed to make in my life. And they laid me off 4 days before I was supposed to start due to company reorganization. And I haven't been able to find a job since. I don't have a Roth IRA. I don't have any type of investment accounts. I don't know if I'll ever own a house. I am married, but we're both children, to be quite honest with you. I live in an apartment that we can no longer afford because I lost my job, moved down here for the job that laid me off 4 days before I was supposed to start. So when you sign a lease, you just can't get out of it like that. That's not how that works.
So this woman just decided, she's going to leave her job because it's demoralizing and it's not what she like. But she's broke, thinking that she's going to depend on her husband. But because they're both kids, is that what she said? Is that what she said? Let me rewind it just to see what the hell she just said.
I am married, but we're both children, to be quite honest with you. I live in an apartment that we can no longer afford because I lost my job, moved down.
Oh, Lord. They live in an apartment that they can no longer afford because they're both children. They're both irresponsible. Wow. I can bet you he's a simp. He's followed her instructions. He's lived by pleasing her, and she has led him down the freaking wrong path. Because no smart man would rent an apartment that you can't afford on one salary. No, you freaking do not go out and rent a freaking apartment that both of you have to be working in order to survive. That is some dumb shit. Just listening to this, man. It annoys me to no freaking end when I listen to grown-ass adults talk like this. If you have a wardrobe, you know what? Let Gary V explain it to you like this, because this is the realization that all of you have to wake up and understand, especially Americans, Westerners who just don't freaking have a clue about money and making money. Listen to this. For those of you that don't know who Gary V is, he's one of the wealthiest marketing gurus out there in the world right now. Shitload of money. He invested in Facebook and Instagram when they were nothing. Made a hell of a lot of money.
What do you need a wardrobe for when you have no money? Why do you have 16 fucking shirts and 19 sneakers and 11 different pairs of pants and fucking 9 handbags when you have no fucking money? I'm going to say this slow and I'm going to say it hard. Almost everybody I know on earth spends too much money on dumb shit, even if they think they're financially disciplined. We have gotten into the era of believing luxuries have become necessities. Who said that we were entitled to be cozy at all times? What happened to being comfortable with being uncomfortable? The new definition of uncomfortable is some bullshit. People out here crying like their life sucks and went to a concert on Saturday night and drank a $19 beer. You fucking dick faces. Come on. We have completely lost our way. We don't need shit.
Yeah. Why the hell you need a wardrobe? Why? I said in a video a couple of days ago, man, most of my shirts are well over 4 years old. Okay, I had to upgrade some recently, but they're primarily for YouTube, just for the YouTube channel. Plus, because I've been on my fast once a week and it's hitting 2.5 months now, I've dropped another 5 pounds and I'm leaner. So I don't want the shirts to start to drag on me, especially when I'm on air. I don't want you guys to start asking me, hey, older man, are you okay? You look like you're losing too much weight, man. My face, usually when I gain weight, I get nice and jowly here. As I slim down, you'll start to see the cheekbones become a little bit more defined. But I'm older, man. It's going to start to, drag on your eyes, etc. Forget all that. My point is that you guys are literally living in a la fantasy land. If you're living in a house and you have a room or a closet full of shit that you haven't used in 6 months, you're spending way too much money on bullshit. And if you're broke, like Gary Vee said, you're an effing idiot. Yes, even at 30. Let's listen to a 50-year-old.
I'm almost 50 years old, and I feel like I'm starting all over again. I got laid off at the end of last year in 2024. We're now in May of 2025. And I still don't have a job. I'm applying. I've applied to almost 200 different positions. I've had interviews. I've had callbacks. Nobody has pulled the trigger. I did work in education. And so now I'm still just trying to find a job. I'm trying to do other things. I'm exploring this TikTok stuff. I am trying to sell on Poshmark, selling used clothes, whether I'm selling my own or I go thrifting and I resell there. I am making woodworking things so I can sell them on Facebook Marketplace. But I don't know if it's my age. I don't know if it's the industry. I just don't know what to do. I have time. I'm doing things. I'm trying to think of all the things. I do some online freelance type of work just to bring in a little bit of money, but it's nothing full-time, nothing permanent. So here I am pouring my soul on TikTok. There's got to be other people like me out there. What did you do? Share your stories. Let's figure this out together. I'm at a loss. I don't know what to do, man.
I don't know if she's married or not, but she's actually doing the only thing that she can do. She can become self-sufficient and not rely on a job. Jobs, my dear, is going to start disappearing at an alarming rate because of AI. There's going to be very little need for teachers or people in the education field simply because AI can do it much better. But you suffer from the same problem that pretty much every single person who starts to hit between the age of 50 and 55, you're going to be on the first line of getting rid of individuals. And especially if you're a woman, you're going to be on the front line of being set up to be let go. Simply because all of the experience that you have acquired in your brain is already available via AI. However, your body can be replaced by a 25, 27, 30, 35, 40-year-old who is knowledgeable of using AI. They can easily replace you. And this is what a lot of people have a hard time dealing with or don't understand. I'm hitting 60. There's no way that I could get a job, even though I've not had a job for over 28 years. Yeah, actually longer than that, almost freaking 30 odd years. Because I've always been an entrepreneur, right? So all I'm saying to you ladies, it's going to get worse. And if you're older, the only salvation for you is to actually get into the gig economy. Doing exactly what this woman is doing. I would strongly encourage each and every one of you to at least start a personal brand online. That means either it's a TikTok, whether it's Instagram or YouTube. I would highly recommend YouTube. Have your own YouTube channel. It is the best freaking gig economy right now. Get into marketing, selling, creating digital products. That's it. That's my best advice because it's going to get hard out there. But here's the thing. You got to start it before you get into a position where you're desperately in need of it. That means that if you have a job now, and even though it might be a steady job and you think it's going to be secure, it's not. Start the channel now, start the book now, start the course now, start whatever the digital product is that you're going to create. Start it now because it's inevitable and it's coming. You're going to lose that job. I can assure you, literally 100%. And I don't care what you tell me. Oh, well, only me can do my job, blah, blah. No, forget it. Just get that shit out of your head. AI can do it better. ChatGPT 5.0 just came out, and I can tell you what this thing can do over 4.0, which came out, I think, 6 months ago. It's mind-blowingly good. If you don't believe me, just go onto YouTube and just put in ChatGPT upgrade. Just look, just see what it does. You'll be shocked.
Something else I've noticed is that when something bad happens in your life, it doesn't stop there. Like, it's never just one thing. You lose your job, and then suddenly your boyfriend breaks up with you, and then you're fighting with your friends, and your family's going through something, and it's like never ending. And every time this happens, I always pause and think like, wow, I'm getting taught like a million lessons at once. Like, we really couldn't pace this one out. We couldn't spread them out a little bit, give a girl a break. But on a realer note, you really got to reflect on why this is happening. Why is this happening? Clearly, when shit like this happens, it's the final boss of tests. It's the final boss, and I've reached it. Does that mean I'm going to level up? Does that mean really great things are coming once I learn my lesson? I think so. So I think that's how I got to start looking at it. Like, if I'm getting hit in a million directions, it's because I've reached the final boss and I'm about to level up. Hopefully. Please.
Ladies, please understand that you suffer from a higher degree of neuroticism than men do. That means that you respond to negative emotion at a much higher degree than men do because you all are more emotional than men. But what that creates is someone who will suffer a lot more when life throws even the smallest little things at them. Especially this generation that grew up in a time when things are so easy. Me, Gen X, things were a lot harder. But when I look at what my parents had to go through, wasn't even close. So the idea that you find everything so difficult and you can't adjust, please understand, it's not the world that is hard. You just got to learn to adjust to a hard world. Like Gary Vee said, we all have become so used to being comfortable and we no longer find solace in being uncomfortable. Because it's only during the uncomfortable times that we're growing, we're adapting. Human beings are adaptable organisms. We adjust to whatever condition we put ourselves under. But only in owning that, only in us accepting that fact is when we actually grow. Because if we don't accept it and resist that growth, then it just feels like a burden, and then you end up on TikTok complaining about everything else is collapsing around you. I go through burdens every day. I just say, okay, how do I fix this? That's it. Just ask the question. How do I fix it? What's the solution? That's it. Done. My brain moves towards the solution, and I just pick apart. And if it's a big problem, I slowly pick at it. Just slowly work at it. Today, I work on one issue that's going to help solve it. Put in a couple of hours or put in whatever or save whatever it is. And I make sure that I do not put myself under conditions where I will have major problems. For example, don't drive your car without insurance. Because if you're out in the street and you're having a car accident, all of a sudden, boom, you have an accident. And you're $100,000, $200,000 in debt because somebody sued you because you were driving without insurance. You'll end up in jail here in Dubai. So you don't even do that shit. In other words, I don't put myself in major problems. If I get sick, I make sure I have insurance so that it doesn't affect me like that. I know that, rent is coming up next month. I make sure that shit is sitting in my bank account months in advance. Don't have to stress about getting rent. No, hell no. Oh, I can't pay the rent. No, that money's been sitting there months ago because I don't wait to try to make that money to pay the rent on when it's due. Hell no. Over here in Dubai, you don't pay month by month. You have it in what you call how many checks, okay? So you can either put down one check, which is rent for the entire year. You usually have to do that in very high demand areas, or if the landlord really don't want to work with you. And then you have anywhere between 2 to 6 checks, right? It depends on how well you negotiate. Usually if you're going to pay more checks, meaning pay the rent every 2 months. So what you do is you post-date the checks and you give those checks over to the landlord or to the real estate broker who's handling the real estate. And then you make sure that you have the money in your bank account. So when that date of the check is coming due, you better make sure you have the money in there. Otherwise, you could end up in jail. Actually, no, I think they're no longer locking you up. What I knew when I first arrived here, and for about 10 years, I think, yeah, you would get locked up if you wrote a check that you didn't have enough money in your bank account. They would immediately arrest you because as far as they're concerned, it's theft. Yeah, you have a product that you haven't paid for. Theft. But the question always came up, well, if I'm in jail, how can I earn or get the money to pay off the debt? If I'm in jail and I lose my job because I can't get to the job, how am I going to pay off the debt? So they realize that there's some errors in this problem. So now you don't get sent to jail, but, you know, they'll take your passport. You can't go anywhere you did. There are things that are in place that ensures that you ain't getting out of here without paying your debt. So I make sure that these things are covered so that I don't have to stress about it. And guess what? And if I know my cash is short for that month or for that 2 months that I have to pay the 2 months rent, I don't freaking go out and start spending money on dumb shit. Well, I never do anyway. But, you know, eating out or doing anything stupid, not going to buy any new cameras or I don't do any of that anyway. I mean, I'm a bad example because I'm a disciplined SOB. Listen, man, I drive a car that's almost 12 years old. That gives you a good example. Okay?
I feel like no one talks about late 20s, like 27, 28, 29. Everyone talks about early 20s, mid 20s, but no one talks about late 20s, at least on this app. And I feel like it's just a really interesting place to be, especially now, because we got affected by COVID. And society has always said, like, by your late 20s, early 30s, you kind of have your shit figured out. And I just feel like me and all my friends don't really have our shit figured out at all. Excuse me for my language. But we're all living at home. Not all, but a lot of us are living at home. We're like in between jobs. Some of us are single or some of us are in serious relationships, but we're not ready for marriage quite yet. And it's just a weird place to be because I always thought in my late 20s I would have everything figured out. And I just don't. It's just I feel like a lot of my friends are having like mental breakdowns, like not actually, but just we all thought we would have our lives together and we don't. And I don't hear anyone talk about it. It's not fun. Like being late 20s is like not that fun. Because I feel like early 20s we got to party and we traveled and we got everything out. And late 20s we're like, okay, now we have to actually lock in. And I don't even know what to lock into. Like it's just, I don't know. So let me know if this is relatable at all.
So this is what happens when they don't have a man to give them logical guidance. I'm going through this with my 19-year-old right now. She just had her trip to Ibiza, Spain. Her and her friends, their family were there. You know, it wasn't a girls' trip. It was just her and one other friend, but the other friend's parents went with them. So it wasn't exactly what you guys would think it was, right? It was well controlled. But now she's back. But she's still having this kind of, I want to have some more fun kind of mentality. And I sat her down the other day and I said, hey, that's a planner right there. If you want to copy the planner, then you should pick up my digital vault because that's where it is. There's a massive amounts of planners in there. I just print one of those out for her. And I said, okay, I need you to put down a 5-year plan, 1-year plan that will help you to get to the 5-year plan. And then there is a monthly planner, and each of those monthly planners, you have to show where you're going to get to the yearly output that will ultimately get you to the 5-year. And then there's a weekly planner, what you have to accomplish every week that will get you to the month, the years, and etc. And then there's a to-do list every single day. I need to know what you're going to do every single day to ultimately get you to that 5-year. And that, my friend, is how men should try to freaking teach women how to focus. Because a lot of them have no focus. It's all about, well, today I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to have some fun. I got to go traveling. I got to go and have some dinners and brunches. Where the hell that freaking accent come from anyway? But you get my point. A lot of women have no focus. It's the lack of focus. And then when they get into their 30s, they're freaking lost. They have nothing, no money saved, no freaking plan whatsoever. They go off. I should go to an island and, working a little smoothie shack. Unbelievable. So, my friends, I'm going to leave it there. Share this with your daughters. Share this with your girlfriends who are lost. Just help to get them to freaking focus on life. Make them realize that the 20s isn't designed to play. It's designed to freaking hustle. It'll prepare them for their 30s. Because when 30s come, they're grown-ass adults. They're almost midway through life. They're almost there. 5 years, 10 years isn't a long time. We don't have a long time on this earth. The only time it appears long is when we're suffering. Okay, so my friends, I'm going to lock it off there. Let me know your thoughts. Hit that like button on your way out, please. Of course, pick up the Content Creators Toolkit, or better yet, pick up the Vault. Pick up the digital vault and see all the amazing digital products up there that you can use yourself or give away or sell. It's an amazing kit. Okay? So until tomorrow, my friends, remember, whenever in doubt, always ask an older man. I'll see you soon. Cheers.